What if he doesn't accept you? That's the conversation we're going to have here today on Self Love Monday. How you guys doing? This is Ron Simplified Myers, author, podcaster, and your uplifting life partner. This was a conversation I was having with a young lady because, as you guys know, I said there's really two major keys to relationships. One is accepting people just as they are. I didn't say agree, I said accept. Accept just means it is what it is because people are going to do whatever they're going to do, whether you like it, whether you approve of it, any of that kind of stuff. Accepting means I accept that. We come from different backgrounds, different beliefs, different perspectives. Okay, I accept that we are different. And then the second one, of course, is communication. And I like to clarify all the time with people that, because some people believe that communication is number one, but I said, but think about it. If I don't accept you as you are, isn't that automatically a communication issue? Because I'm going to judge you based on my perspective, my views, and then we can't really have a good conversation, a good communication, which is understanding, being able to listen. That's not taking place because I'm too busy judging you instead of hearing you out. And the way that I put it when I say number one is accepting people as they are, which again is my definition of love, then I step into the conversation saying, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. I accept that we are different. And I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. Because again, I didn't say I agree with it, and I didn't say I'm going to agree with it after you explain it to me. But I walk into the conversation with a whole different mindset. I walk in saying, I accept you as you are. I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. And then that determines on where this relationship is going to go, whether it's going to move forward or stop where it is, it's over, whatever. And as I was talking about this, a young lady was like, and she's married and she's been with her husband for, I forgot, about 20 years or something. And she was kind of said it in a joking way, but the point is still the same. She says, but what if they don't accept you? That to me is what I call a red flag. Those are things, hopefully, that's not something you decide to look into and pay attention to after you're married. Hopefully, those are things you recognize and accept people in the dating stage. That way you could get clear on whether we should be moving forward or not. Because I hear people all the time telling me that their partner changed once they got married. And I hear them, but in most instances, I don't believe what is being said is true. There are very few people that actually change after marriage. Most people, what you see is what you get. That's why you hear most people's personalities are created by the age of 5. So think about that. If it's already created by the age of 5, what in the world makes you think they changed once you guys got married? It didn't. In other words, if they're a selfish child, self absorbed, they're a selfish adult, self absorbed adult. If they're an angry child, they're an angry adult. If they play stubborn and things got to go their way, and they did that as a kid, they do that as an adult. You just chose not to. It's like I've said before, you see some things and we choose to ignore them because we want to make someone, and that's why, again, I shared this with a young lady when she said about relationships being hard, and I said, here's a key. Quit trying to make the wrong people be the right people. That's where most people fall down. They're so afraid to be alone, to be by themselves. And that's why everything I talk about is self-love. You got to be able to be cool with being with just you. Hang it, folks, I could go, those that know me know I love being around people. But I will spend time at the beach by myself, the park by myself, a movie by myself, dinner at myself, and I'm ecstatic because I love being with me. And some people may think something's wrong with that. I think that's very healthy because when you're able to do that, that I don't need someone to fill any void. The reason someone will be in my life is because I want them in my life. And so that kind of brings us back to kind of what this whole conversation is about, is if you're very comfortable with who you are, then you're able to look at people, accept them as they are, and then you recognize if they're accepting you as you are. Because folks, if people are spending their time changing you or want to change you, and that holds true if you're trying to change people, what is being said in that conversation is, I don't like you. Yep, that's what you're saying. I don't like, or we shouldn't necessarily say you, because we don't want to put actions, because you guys know I say all the time, if you separate actions from people, you can love everybody. So what you're really saying is, I don't like the things that you do. I don't like your actions. I don't like the way you carry yourself or whatever. So what I want to do is I want to recreate you and make you behave in a way that is suitable to me. And here's the key. If that's what you're looking for and you're spending your life doing is trying to change people, you're in for a long journey. Because if you think about it, most people have a hard time getting themselves to do stuff. So if you have a hard time getting yourself to do stuff, how are you going to get somebody else to change? It's not about changing people. It's about figuring out where you want to go, the direction in which you're headed, and find someone headed in that direction. So back to the conversation. If they don't accept you, why are you in a relationship with them? And that's what I had told her. I said, well, if you're in marriage, you guys are going to have to work through this once you're married. And I said, but what I would tell a person who's not married, who's in a dating stage, why you with them? And you need to cut them loose. If they're not willing to accept you, and I know I'm hearing some grumblings out there. If they're not willing to accept you as you are, folks, you're setting your life up for a long, stressful journey. Life is too short for that. We ain't got, as they say, we ain't got time for that. So the reality is, and I'm not saying we're not going to disagree. You guys have heard me say that many times. We're of course going to disagree because, as we said before, that's why you accept people as they are. We come from different backgrounds, different perspectives, different views, different things have occurred to us. We're going to see the world differently. I accept that, and that's cool. But that's why we're going to communicate and work through those things. If they're not red flags, we can work through all those other stuff. If they're red flags, put on the brakes, stop. Hopefully this is during the dating stage and you don't proceed forward with that conversation that we all hear too much is, I'm hoping they're going to change. Or maybe over time they will mature. Those are bad, bad, bad conversations for a relationship. If you can't accept what you see right in front of you, or agree with it, because we're saying you can accept everything if you choose to, and just understand is who they are, or I should say what they're doing at this point. Only thing we're going to decide on whether we are going to have that in our life, and if we say that's not something I want in my life, like smoking is not what I like, and drinking, so therefore the person I'm hanging with is not going to be doing that. Does that make sense? Why am I putting myself in those positions, and especially if they're red flags for me, things I don't want in my life? Why would I put someone in my life in hopes that one day they're going to change? Folks, bad, 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 bad formula. The minor things we can work through. That's where, we talk about we can agree to disagree, or you walk yours and I walk mine, but they're not big things, so it's cool. We're individuals, and we can work in a relationship as individuals and allowing people to be themselves. That's okay. Just no red flags. So anyway, bottom line for this whole conversation of what we're talking about, if they don't accept you as you are, why are you in that relationship? And if you're married and you stepped into it anyway, because again, most people, con artists can get you in something, but majority of people don't fit that category. They're very rare people that are really good at that. If you're paying attention, you'll figure it out. Very few people are going to actually get caught because it's actually a con artist. They do exist, don't get me wrong. The moment you recognize they are, get the heck out of there. But for most of us, it's just you're not paying attention. So if they're not accepting you as you are, cut the relationship off. And if you're in the marriage, you guys need to seek help some kind of way, because it's very hard to be in a relationship with someone who doesn't want to get the help, also doesn't want to accept you, and you guys are always bumping heads. Folks, I believe in marriage. I'm never going to push for divorce. But as I've said many times before, anyone that is messing you up from a mental or a physical perspective, and trust me, if they're messing you up mentally, it will start to affect you physically. Either one of those, my thing is duck your head and run and fast. And as you guys know, it ain't right, it ain't wrong. It is my opinion. Run on over to my the app is Simplified You, the letter D, Simplified, the letter U, not the word U, and they are separate. Simplified You. Type that into the browser in your Apple Store or Google Play. Pull up the free app. It'll tell you everything that I've got going on. And folks, as you guys know, if you're not having fun, you should be doing something else. Understand those are the major two keys to relationships. Accept me as I am and let's communicate. And if you can't accept me as I am, folks, it's a waste of my time. It's time to move on. Hopefully you guys get that. And I'll talk to you later. Enjoy the journey. Bye-bye.